Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into why one of the absolute most overlooked moments in senior care, just a routine nighttime bathroom trip, is actually a massive, completely untapped care signal. We're taking a really focused look at a recently proposed policy commentary on senior care. Now, if you spent any time at all around this field, you know that the nighttime hours usually feel kind of disconnected from our daytime clinical strategies. But as we're going to see today, the night is incredibly revealing. Section 1, the night shift cascade, the unseen sequence. Okay, let's step away from the daytime hustle and bustle and go directly onto the night shift. I want you to picture a very specific quiet scene. It's a senior care hallway, middle of the night. You've got that soft, respectful lighting, and then suddenly, a single call light turns on in the dark. Now, on the surface, this event looks incredibly small, right? It just seems like a totally routine moment in a standard 24-hour cycle of care. Well, actually, scratch that. It's not just a small moment. That single moment is so much bigger than it seems because it's essentially a domino effect. Just think about this cascade for a second. One resident wakes up, one brief is saturated, one call light flips on, and one caregiver has to step in to help with a transfer. In the complex world of senior care, one small nighttime event literally never happens in isolation. It sets a much larger system in motion, what the source material astutely calls the night shift cascade. Section 2, beyond a urinary symptom, a broader reality. Let's see how this completely shifts our understanding of what's actually happening beneath the surface here. We kind of need to pause here for a second and redefine a key medical term, nocturia. Usually, nocturia is defined simply as the need to wake up in the night to urinate, and because of that, it's almost always treated as just a localized, isolated urinary symptom. But the absolute central idea of the policy commentary we're looking at is that we have to start viewing nocturia as a deeply measurable care signal. It's actually this incredible window into a resident's broader functional vulnerability. So, the really crucial point here is contrasting that traditional clinical view with the much broader reality for older adults. The traditional view, it just sees a localized bladder issue, but the broader reality is so much more complex. For older adults, especially folks dealing with cognitive impairment, frailty, or limited mobility, this isn't just about the bladder. It's an intersecting signal. It reveals underlying risks tied to sleep disruption and physical mobility that daytime observations might just completely miss. Let's unpack that broader reality, because repeated nighttime urination signals a massive unseen cascade that touches almost everything. It shatters sleep continuity, meaning the resident just isn't getting restorative rest. That directly spikes fall risk, especially when a vulnerable adult is trying to navigate a dark room. It massively drives up caregiver workload during a shift that, let's be honest, is often already running pretty lean. It tanks the resident's next day alertness, and, of course, it causes a ton of family concern. It's this whole web of intersecting impacts. Section 3, the missing measurement piece, organizing observations. What's really fascinating here is that these events aren't actually invisible to the care teams on the ground. Frontline staff are already doing the heavy lifting every single night. They document toileting assistance, but it's trapped in scattered checkboxes. They note brief changes, but it's often in unlinked handwritten notes. They record unsafe transfers, but that data just lives in some disjointed section of the electronic health record. Sleep disruption? Completely fragmented reports. And next day function is just jotted down as isolated observations. The raw data is totally there, being gathered by dedicated workers who are already drowning in paperwork, but it remains completely scattered. Which brings us to the core realization of our explainer today. The problem we're facing in senior care absolutely isn't a lack of observation. Frontline workers are incredibly observant. What's completely missing is a shared measurement framework to actually organize those disjointed observations. Without a system to connect the dots, all these vital clues about our residents' declining health just get lost in the noise of daily shift reports. Section 4, a shared care framework, connecting the dots. This leads us directly to the core solution proposed in the source material, a brand new framework designed to fix this exact problem. The author proposes what they call the Nocturia Care Framework. It's a remarkably simple, 3-step playbook to unify all these scattered nighttime signals. Step 1, recognize the pathways. This just means identifying how the issue becomes visible, either through confirmed nighttime voiding or through related care events, like finding a saturated brief. Step 2, organize these observations across practical domains. And step 3, measure at the fitting scale. Let's break those last two down a bit more.
Drilling down into step 2, the framework organizes observations across 5 highly practical domains to get us away from clinical reductionism. We look at urinary patterns, like confirmed voiding, nighttime care events, such as saturated briefs or bedding changes, sleep disruption, meaning just how fragmented the resident's rest is, next day function, where we look for reduced daytime alertness, and finally, the care plan context, noting any intersecting cognitive or mobility issues. By organizing data this way, we turn a bunch of scattered notes into a real, holistic picture of the resident.
And then we hit step 3. Those organized observations are captured across 3 distinct levels of measurement. This is great because it scales perfectly to fit the specific setting. You can go from routine frontline checks all the way up to highly structured research-grade data collection. It just scales to fit exactly what the facility needs.
Section 5, transforming observation into intelligence, creating action. Now we're zooming out to the macro level to see why getting this shared measurement in place is so incredibly vital to the whole care ecosystem.
So who actually benefits from this shared measurement? Honestly, everyone. Measurement isn't the final goal, it's the tool. For researchers, it creates a common language to actually study nighttime vulnerabilities. For operators and payers, it turns all those scattered observations into practical, actionable intelligence. For the residents themselves, it's a real game changer. It catches small nighttime patterns so they can get attention long before they snowball into larger problems. It helps care teams recognize vulnerable residents way earlier, and for families, it finally enables clearer, evidence-based communication about their loved one's care.
And this is where it becomes absolutely critical for the broader healthcare industry. Without this shared language and organized data, it's virtually impossible for payers and operators to objectively evaluate if a senior care intervention is actually working. Whether you're testing out a new staffing model, a modified room environment, or a new care routine, we need this data to evaluate those interventions fairly. Measurement is what allows the industry to definitively develop better, smarter care approaches over time.
Which brings us to this powerful quote directly from the source material. Improving senior care may start with what the night is already revealing. This perfectly encapsulates everything we've talked about in this explainer. Improving senior care doesn't only start in the brightly lit daytime clinic. The critical intelligence we need to keep seniors safe and healthy is literally already being gathered, night after night, in the quiet hours of the night shift. We just have to learn to organize it and measure it. So I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today. Look at the practices within your own sphere, whether you're an operator, a researcher, a payer, or a family member. Is your care system actually equipped to measure what the night reveals? Are you systematically capturing these critical, measurable care signals, or are they still just disjointed checkboxes, completely lost in the dark? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep observing, keep questioning, and I will see you next time.